Hey, how you doing?
Same old, same old.
Mm. I was thinking, I miss arriving anywhere,
Oh,
you know? Just
yeah.
that sense of, oh, I was over there and now I'm here and I moved somewhere.
Across the globe. But also, now there's also every time I've walked out of an airport somewhere in the world, it has a distinct aroma.
Yeah,
Not bad or good, but just, you're like, oh, that, India, even difference between Mumbai and
yeah,
Kolkata, there's a different scent to the air.
yeah.
Or, when we went to Nairobi or anywhere, you just get off and you're like, oh, so this is Addis Ababa.
hmm Yeah, Addis
Yeah.
Ababa. That was one place.
Man, that was a most wonderful place.
Capital of Ethiopia, the Tibet of Africa.
Yes,
Very,
very,
very spiritual place.
very much so. And we visited several of those very spiritual locations.
We did the church where Haile Selassie is buried.
Do you remember there was those guys inside who like 24/7 are playing those instruments, those prayer guys that the local instruments just
Yep,
constantly. And so Haile Selassie was buried there.
yep,
Um, there's like 1,000 martyrs buried there.
yep.
Um, but then there's like random people buried there. Isn't like Bob Marley buried there? Emily
No,
Pankhurst.
Bob Marley wasn't buried there, but Bob Marley visited there
Right.
to visit the tomb of Haile Selassie. Um, but Emily Pankhurst, no, not Emily Pankhurst.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Emily Pankhurst
And her grandson
and her grandson are
are
both buried
both buried there. Strangely. Yes.
because they had a quite a close relationship with the emperor and his family.
Yes. It's a strange and wonderful. It's one of those places. I just fell in love with it. I
Mm,
really did. The
yep.
people, the place, the everything. It was so different from any other place in Africa that we went, as they, of course, they all are, but so
And,
different from many places we've been.
and the coffee.
I literally was happy to give up alcohol and just drink coffee.
So
It was
we discovered this little cafe called Tomoka, which is a bit of an institution in Ethiopia.
only locals,
Only locals,
pretty
and
much only local taxi drivers, really.
yeah, and they do this sort of kind of like a double shot of espresso in a small little glass with this little infusion of creamy milk. It was kind of like a macchiato, wasn't it? But they'd also add quite a bit of sugar.
Yeah.
But it was all down to the quality of the bean itself. The coffee was just incredible. It was the best coffee I think I've ever drunk. And the problem was, I think that both times, two or three times that you and I went there, we had at least two.
Yeah, at least two.
But coffee, unfortunately, isn't something you can OG on because
Then we were ready to go, man. We were like taking on
yeah,
the world. But
yeah,
the best part about that, I mean, of course, the best part was the coffee, but you're also in this tiny little local coffee shop, and there's only standing tables,
mm,
right? There's like three standing tables, and everybody else standing around are these kind of local, mostly guys. There was a couple of women, but it was mostly guys, taxi drivers and such, and like this chatter of just
yeah,
people talking about the news and life and
yeah,
all going on around you, and we're just the three of us standing there because we were with our friend James.
yeah,
Three of us just standing there. I could have had an IV of this coffee and just taking it in like
yeah.
this is just a community of people right here drinking the world's best coffee.
And we're like coffee pilgrims.
I came home with so much coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. my my freezer was full of it for about 2 months. I eventually finished. So I'm like, okay, I got to go to Sainsbury's and get some more coffee now. Let's
I'm
go.
convinced I think Monica has hidden some somewhere in this house.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of it.
But then the other big thing that I remember was that trip up to the Entoto Mountains one afternoon after work. I think we just had a meeting with the British Embassy, and then it was like, right, we've got a few spare hours before our flight. Let's hit the mountains. And I just remember driving up into those hills that look out over Addis Ababa.
With like a gray mist of smoke coming up from wood fires. And so we just got a taxi driver and just kind of paid him and said, take us up the mountain. And it was also sunset. So we said, I don't know, we trusted this guy, as one does in Addis. Yeah. And we said, take us up the mountain and then find a good spot for us to watch the sunset.
And he, boy, did he deliver. And what I remember, we were sat on this rock. I felt like we're like sort of three characters from the Old Testament, sort of sitting on this rock, looking out over this wonderful, incredible city. And what I remember was that whole mountainside is covered in eucalypt trees, and all I could smell was eucalyptus oil. And that obviously makes me think of Australia, and the feral camels of Australia.
I can't believe you said that. I cannot believe you said that.
So I think I might have mentioned briefly the story of the feral camels of Australia, but in all seriousness, it was just like the smell of eucalypt, the setting sun, that view, a job well done of 3 or 4 days of doing some really good business. It was something else.
Yeah. There was some music kind of wafting up from some of the local villages as well, local music. And when we were like, three prophets on a mountain, I think we all sat there and watched a sunset, like in complete silence. We just sat in awe of like this setting. Oh, and do you remember those women coming down the mountain with the giant bushels on their back?
Yeah, massive.
Whoa,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Carrying wood down the mountain, but must have been 2 meters wide. I know exactly what 2 meters looks like now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was 2 meters wide.
Yeah.
On their back, these giant bushels, and they were carrying them from the top of the mountain to the bottom. And there was those plinths where we were sitting, and they would pause there to rest. And the plinths were, yay high, because it was just the right height so they could rest the pack on the plinth. Whew.
And I reckon those bushels of wood would have been, I reckon they probably would have been about 40 or 50 kilos each. They were really, really big and heavy, which was, it was kind of humbling watching that, just, women sort of trudging along and doing what they do every day. But what a view. And I can't think of all the travel I've done, around the world, and had those sort of real moments of job well done, time to go home. That was probably one of the most satisfying ends to a working day that I've had in a long, long time. Yeah,
without a doubt. I think I got on that plane feeling like Buddha reincarnated. I was just like in a Zen mode. I was just like, I'd had my eucalyptus. It was like we'd been, I think I'd had like a spiritual moment. I've been bathed in the eucalyptus oil.
It could have been the coffee speaking, to be honest.
Could have been the Emirates Business Lounge speaking. I don't know. No.
Yeah, amazing memories.
The one other place in Addis that I think that would have been a good place to end the recording right there, but I'm not going to.
Right.
Yeah, amazing. That was good. Great. Yoda Basinia.
Old Ethiopia.
I think we need to, before we go, we have to tell people about the food and the dancers at Yoda Basinia.
So Yoda Basinia, which means old Ethiopia, is one of the most oldest and famous restaurants in Addis, and it does that traditional injera bread meal that defines Ethiopian cuisine, and they also have dancers and performers throughout the evening and what's interesting is that all those different performances are from different regions of
Right.
Ethiopia. So it'd be a bit like going to a restaurant in America and having performances from a bunch of people from Colorado and Texas and Connecticut and Nevada. Does that
Boy, does that sound like a great dinner spot. That's what I want to eat dinner, watching dancers from Texas and Colorado.
Yeah, I kind of killed that analogy, but it was amazing. Amazing though, wasn't it?
Yes, that was. I think just the setting, the culture, the food. So between the food, the mountain, job well done, seeing Lucy, first human at the Natural History Museum there.
Yep.
I think we basically covered like humanity from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Like first human, through to, innovation and technology and everything in between.
And ticked all the boxes on our to-do list.
Yeah, we definitely did.
We did.
I don't know how we fit so much.
It's true. Well, it's why you always come back so tired, right?
Yeah, we live it to the fullest, man. We definitely do. That is definitely some crazy shit.
Absolutely.
I forgot how to stop the recording.
There you go. You just push it.